And if this is your first time on the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living here in Mount Vernon and the surrounding areas of the Skagit Valley like Burlington or Conway or Big Lake, be sure to subscribe below for updates. You can even hit the bell and get notified every time we drop a new video with home tours of homes in the area or other information like this on understanding the local market here. My name is Seth Pike with Pike Real Estate. I love talking to people about their real estate goals. So shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email, or you can even schedule in the link below and we can do a Zoom consultation and talk about what your real estate goals are. We'll figure out if now's a good time for you to buy a home or maybe you're looking to sell. Okay, now let's get into it. What are the 3 key numbers you need to know to understand if now's a good time to buy a home in Mount Vernon or whatever market you're in? Once again, these rules work for any type of market you're looking in, but today we're going to go through stats specifically for our area here in Mount Vernon and the surrounding areas of Northwest Washington. But first, before we dive into the 3 key numbers you need to know if now's a good time for you to buy a home, I want to go over a couple of ground rules before we get into statistics, because anytime you start dealing with stats and numbers regarding the real estate market, things can get pretty crazy if you don't know where the data is coming from, how the data was calculated, and really what the number is you're looking at. I love the Mark Twain quote that says there are lies, there are damn lies, and then there are statistics. And so let's have a few foundational rules here to make sure we understand these numbers that we're looking at before we get into them. Rule number 1, where's the data coming from? You want to know where's the source of this number that you're getting to determine the housing market. So always look at the source, where it's coming from. Rule number 1, where? Rule number 2, what is the data referencing? So we want to know, is this talking about all real estate in general? Is this talking about commercial buildings? Is this talking about homes? Is it talking about new construction? Or is it talking about condominiums? Sometimes all those numbers are jumbled into one. Sometimes the number is just referencing one particular type of real estate. So know, what is this number referring to that we're talking about? Because you could be looking at a number that says prices are up 30%. Well, maybe that's true in your area for single family homes, but for condos, prices are only up 2%. So know really specifically what the number is that we're referencing and what it's talking about. And the last rule I have for how we look at numbers is how. And that just simply means, how was the number calculated? There are a lot of different ways you can get a number. You can take, okay, our prices up 1% from last month. Our prices up 1% this month versus 1% of what they were 1 month prior, or they averaged out over 12 months. So there's a lot of different ways of calculating a number. Without getting into that too much, just know how that number is calculated, because it's going to give you a much different perspective if you're looking at, okay, where are we in relation to last month, or where is this year at in relation to last year? So those are the 3 rules that I always like following when I'm advising my clients on understanding the market. Just remember, where's the number coming from? What is the number referring to that you're looking at? And how is that number calculated? Okay, that was a bit of a rabbit trail commentary, but I think it's important to understand before we jump into these 3 key numbers that you really need to know to understand if now is a good time to buy a home. Okay, now we're going to jump into it. The 3 numbers you need to reference when you're determining whether or not you want to buy a home are just going back to simple high school economics: supply, demand, and pricing. So that's what we're going to talk about here in the rest of the video. Is what's the supply look like for the housing market you're looking in? What's the demand? And what does that do on prices? And that will determine, is now a good time to buy, depending on what your goals are. So if you're following along and you're actually looking to buy a home here in Mount Vernon, this is going to be really useful for you. But if you're looking in another area, follow this same process and it's going to be just as helpful to you. Just do it for your local area. Real estate is always hyper local. I don't need to say over and over, you've heard your parents, your grandparents say real estate is all about location, location, location. And that's true. The location matters. We're in Skagit County, and there's some surrounding areas here like Burlington, Sedro Woolley, Anacortes, but Mount Vernon really sits at the heart of the Skagit Valley and is right along the I-5 corridor. It's an ideal location. This is where I live, this is where I run the real estate business, and I love living here. Okay, now let's get into number one thing you need to know is to determine if it's a good time to buy a home or not. Inventory. What is going on with inventory? How many homes are there available to choose from? So right now, if we're looking in our area specifically, what you see here in this chart is the inventory of homes that are available for sale. Right now, what we're looking at is Snohomish County, Skagit County, where Mount Vernon is located, and Whatcom County, which is the county just north of us. You can see that there are 585 homes available in Skagit County, and that is up actually 27% from where it was last year. So right now inventory is up 27% in Skagit County, 37% in Snohomish County, only 16% in Whatcom County. What does that mean? That means you have a lot more homes to choose from as a buyer right now than you did a year ago. Now, let's get a little perspective though. What's inventory normally like in the area that you're looking in? And for our area, if we zoom out to more of a 20-year perspective and say, what is inventory usually like in this area? We're gonna see that even though inventory is up quite a bit from where it was last year, it's not near as high of a supply as it would normally have been over the last 20 years. Things always fluctuate, so it's hard to say that there's a normal number, but let's just zoom back 10 years to right around 2015, and you can kind of see that that would be when inventory came down quite a bit from the peak of where it was at right after the housing boom during 2008. Inventory was at 3,200 in Snohomish County, 2,200 in Whatcom, and 1,200 in Skagit County. So while we're up right now, inventory is still down quite a bit from sort of a normal level that we would be in terms of inventory. So that gives you a little perspective on where we're at for inventory. So is now a good time to buy a home? Well, with more to choose from, that would be one thing in your favor for a home buyer. A little bit tougher to sell when there's more competition out there, but a little bit better for you as a buyer knowing that there's more inventory than there was a year ago, and the inventory trend is going up. Every month for the last 6 months, inventory has just been going up and up and up. So there's more homes to choose from every month out there right now. If inventory is going up, but demand is increasing even more, then actually there's going to be less supply out there in the following month. Likewise, if there are less people buying homes and inventory is increasing, then what you're going to see is a disparity where there's more and more to choose from. That's obviously the ideal situation for you as a buyer. So let's look at what demand is like right now. What we're seeing in Skagit County is that we've had 1,600 people buy homes last month. We can see these lines look pretty flat. They're actually down a little bit. In Skagit County, there were 6% less people buying homes over this last year than there were the year prior. And same in Snohomish County, about 6% less, and in Whatcom County, there's 1% less. So inventory is going up, and slightly less people are buying homes than they were a year before. So just like I did in the last number of looking at how many homes for sale, let's go back 10 years and see where we were at in 2015, 2016 with home sales. We see that we're down actually in Snohomish County, 36% from where we were in 2016, down 27% in Whatcom, and down 33% in Skagit. So even less people are buying than they normally do, but inventory is increasing. So what does that tell you as a buyer? Okay, there's a little less people buying and there's more homes becoming available every month. That usually means it's a pretty good time to buy a home. Okay, if you've made it this far, we've talked about supply, we've talked about demand, you're probably guessing number 3 is price, and you're correct. What does supply and demand have to do with pricing? That's the last thing you need to know and determine if it's a good time for you to buy or sell a home. So let's look at what prices are doing here in Mount Vernon and the surrounding areas of Skagit County. This is probably the most interesting number right now that really doesn't seem to match the rest of the picture, because you would think with inventory going up and less people buying, that would mean prices would really start falling, and that's what everyone thinks is going to happen. And that's sometimes where you get the predictions that, oh, the market's going to do this or the market's going to do that. In this case, people might be predicting a market crash. You may have heard that in the national news. The reality is, if you look at the market numbers, it's pretty flat as far as prices. They're starting to come down a little bit. In Snohomish County, they're down 2.6% from where they were last year. In Skagit County, they're down 0.2%, so basically flat. And in Whatcom County, they're down 1%. And I've also got another line on this graphic we didn't have in the other ones, which is for all of Washington. And that number is down 1.5%. So if you're looking to buy, you're thinking, what are prices doing? Prices have been pretty flat for almost a year now. And that's kind of a unique thing for a market. Usually prices are trending in one direction or another. They're definitely trending up, they're definitely trending down, but they've just been hovering pretty flat, and they're starting to go down a little bit. In perspective for prices, they're flat now, but they are still up considerably from where they were back at the peak in 2008. If you go back to the peak, which was January 2008, prices have risen almost double. They've almost doubled, 90% overall in Washington state. So we went through 3 ground rules that you need to know before looking at market numbers. That is, where's the data come from? What is the data referring to? And how is the number calculated? And then we've talked about the 3 things that you need to know to understand any housing market. You can use these same key numbers in any market that you're in. What's supply like? How's the inventory? What's the demand like? How many people are buying right now? And then ultimately, what are prices doing? If you have a good grasp on those 3 key factors, you're gonna know if now's a good time to buy or not. Right now, in July 2026, I'd say it's a pretty good time to buy. Inventory is up, prices are starting to come down a little bit. I see this out there right now. Sellers are starting to reduce their price. That wasn't happening a year ago. People were just holding firm. Now people are realizing, hey, we might have to reduce our price if we've got to sell a home. So that's good for you as a buyer. So the answer to the question right now, is now a good time to buy? I'd say overall, yeah, it's a pretty good time to be out there shopping. Of course, you still want to make wise decisions in any market, and real estate is hyper local. Inventory might be up overall in the town, but you might be looking in a neighborhood where there are no homes for sale because it's just such an exclusive neighborhood. That's going to affect things a little bit differently than it will overall. So remember, real estate's always hyper local. Be sure to check the data on the area that you're looking in, but follow these rules and you'll be just fine to know whether or not now's a good time to buy a home in that area. Gut feelings or anecdotal data, it can be helpful, especially from someone who's really experienced. But what you really want is to know these 3 things. What's supply, what's the demand, and what are prices doing? I hope this video has been helpful in determining whether or not it's a good time for you to buy a home. It doesn't matter if you're looking to move in 9 days or 90 days. Shoot me a text, give me a call, or schedule a Zoom meeting. I look forward to meeting you.